Okay, so we have seen the if statement and how it works. Let's look at a nested if statement. What is a nested if statement? Well, there's a concept in programming called nesting. Nesting is when you put one block inside another. This picture will tell you everything you need to know about nesting. So let's look at this if nested block. So you write your if statement followed by a colon, and then all of this is the if block, right? And then you have a print statement, let's say print move down. And then within that block, there could be another if block, right? So this is called the nested if statement. It's called nesting because there's one block inside another. So this if block is nested inside the upper if block. And this if block again could have its own level of indentation, right? So this is the first level that corresponds to this if block, and this is the second level of indentation that corresponds to this if statement, right? So you can have n number of levels of nesting. So if inside an if inside an if. Now why would you need it? Well, in programming, things could get pretty complicated. The way you write your logic would depend on the complexity of the problem. We'll see a simple example with the elevator program that we have seen, where we would need to do some kind of a nested if statement. Say for example, the elevator is at level 5. Okay? And the user has pressed it button at level 9. Now what should the elevator do? The elevator should go to level 9. But there could be another user in here and he might activate the emergency button. Or the elevator could go broke and it has activated the emergency button itself because of a power failure or something like that. And when there is this emergency button that's pressed in, or when the elevator is in a state of emergency, should it go up when there is a request on floor number 9? No, it should not, right? It should stop right there and then take any of those emergency measures, like take the elevator to the nearest floor, or stop right there and call your fire services or any other kind of emergency service. So if the user at number 9 has pressed a button, so that's an if statement. If user at floor 9 has pressed, then the elevator is supposed to go up, right? But it's only supposed to go up if the state is not emergency. So this statement will be encapsulated in a nested if. Like how? Like so. If, so we're going to write another if statement. If emergency, if not emergency. So if it is not an emergency, go to number 9. If not, then don't go to number 9. Take any of those emergency measures. Now we don't want to worry about what those emergency measures are, but we just want to code the elevator in such a way that if it is not an emergency, then only do that action. Otherwise, don't do. How do we do that? So let's write that nested if here. Okay, so here is the thing. So let's by default set this to false. Okay, let's say the elevator is not in a state of emergency. And then everything else would remain the same except move down or move up only when the emergency button is false. So this is the first if statement, right? And then this is the entire block for that if statement. And then this is the nested if. So the one in orange is the nested if, and The one in blue is what will be executed within that nested if. Now look at the number of levels of indentation. This is the first level. This is the second level. So this is the nested if block. So let's write this. So we already have everything. All we have to do is add that emergency thing. So emergency equals false. So that means currently it's not in a state of emergency. Now do something only if emergency equals false. And then we indent it to the second level, right? Same thing with this. If emergency equal to false, only then move up. Okay. Now since emergency is false, both these if blocks, depending on the difference, will be executed. Let's try it. So it says move down because user is at floor 4 and the elevator is at 6. So from 6 it will be moving down. What if we set this to true? True. Okay. So execute. So now the emergency state is set to true. And now what happens here? When the user presses on floor number 4, nothing happens. It neither moves up nor moves down. Why? Because we have set this nested if block and said within this if, execute this only if emergency is false. But we have set emergency to true. So nothing can be done on the elevator. It just comes to a standstill. So this concept is called nested if block.